Hello everyone, welcome to today's class. In today's class, I'll be taking us through the process of designing a flyer. Now, the first thing about designing any flyer is that first of we need to understand the brief or the script that's been sent, right? So, and here is yes, once I click that, it should take me here. And here is the script, which is basically a a flyer calling the attention of just a call for volunteers. A call for volunteers. The flyer, the message is just a call for volunteers. TCM Maryland calling for volunteers. So here, the script is just talking about the various units of TCM Maryland. So after getting this, the first other follow-up question that one need to ask, that you need to ask as the designer, is the follow-up questions. You need to ask that who is the audience? Like who are we designing exactly for? Right? Then this particular one now, the church members are the is a particular audience. So we now know how the visual should go, possibly the kind of fonts we should use, right? So yes, as different from maybe if it were kids now, right? There's choice of color will be different. The what's it called? The choice of color will be different. The fonts also have to be a bit playful and all of that, and not something too serious. Then the next thing here, where will the design primarily live? Right here. So where is the design sitting? Once we send it across to them, where are the exact platform, the major platform rather, the major platform that the this will be? So the answer is that it will be displayed as announcement on screen in church. That's in during the announcement for church. That's when this thing will be displayed. The graphics will be displayed. The flyers will be displayed. Then, if that's the case, the dimension, you now need to ask, okay, what's the dimension, right? So that you will know how to present it, what canvas size you should use in Photoshop. So, and the answer for that is that since it will be displayed on the screen, the typical 1920 by 1080, this one is for what's it called for videos. Yeah, yeah, yes, this is like the typical size for videos. So since it will be displayed on screen, right? This is full HD. So yeah, and I put a little this in here to like just give you a much more like a deeper explanation to these are like a common dimension, right? That your design can go. The very, very common dimension that your design can go. So we have the horizontal or what you call the portrait size. The portrait size is here is longer, right, than this. So we have 1920 by 1080, right? The height is 1920. The width is 1080. But reverse is the case for the landscape or the portrait. The landscape we have, 1920 is the width, while the height is 1080. Now for the square, like usually this one is usually let's say there maybe the design we see it both on WhatsApp, right? Many times once you have it as square, right, and when they use it as DP, right, it displays better rather than having it in this format or this format. So to have the sweet spot of maybe varieties of maybe if they are using it in various platforms, to have a sweet spot where everything you want every information not to be if you want every information to be seen as much as possible, then it becomes necessary to sometimes to go with this one by one, with the one by one. So then after that, this is just to run us the common dimension, right? Then the next thing you need to do is to do your research, right? Okay, which is the number one thing about your research is you look for reference. Okay, since you know that it's a church flyer, so we need to now look for church flyers and yes, we need to look for church flyers. A very good place to go for this is Pinterest, right? Pinterest. Uh, just type flyer, I think flyer design or poster designs. So we have here. So you can see. So Pinterest is usually my major place to go. But however, I've collected, like I have, yes, this is one thing you should do, you should have, or you should do as a designer. Have either a Google Drive or this thing on your desktop or your on your just have a folder, like have a folder you've created that contains each of the this thing you have, each of the this thing that cuts across to you that really that you like. You need to, for instance, when I saw this, right, I like how the 15 was wrapped around this the man there. So I saved it so that next time when I'm to do birthday designs, right, I can always borrow one or two from this. So yeah, Pinterest is usually the place. But if I were to start designing now, right, and if I'm to look for reference, I already have my reference bank. This is one of them. This is one of the reference bank I have. That is one. Yes, then back to this. Then whenever I'm looking at, yes, you need to have this at the back of your mind. For me, whenever I'm looking at reference, right, there are like major things that I'm looking out for that I'm extracting from the reference. One, the major thing usually one is the title, right? The title. We have the title, we have the image placement. So that means with our brief here, with our script here, it means this has to be one this has to be one slide. So there are multiple slides. So this can be one. This itself can be like the overall title, right? Of for the whole the overall slide, the title for the overall slide, right? Then this will be one. This is one. This is another. So here now, the social media department is the title, right? And this is the body. This one is the body. So wherever I am, so I have the title, then the images that support that, then the body, the type, right? So the body here is the department in charge of our social media posting, monitoring, and engaging, creative, and so on and so forth. So yes, so that's for the body, the number three item here. Then background and logo placement. So these are the things that should be on the background of our mind as we look at references. So for instance, I'm looking here, I'm looking at this. I think I like this. So we have imagery, right? Then we have the title. We have the title here, right? And you can see, the sub, and here is the logo. So this is one. So what I normally do um, there are like two ways. Is also a two way thing. Like I can look for this reference before I start, or I open up my Photoshop while I'm trying to type in the text. Right, I'm now going back and forth to this. But one thing that is also needful is that you should have your Photoshop opened. Okay, already have your Photoshop opened, right? And have your Photoshop opened and okay, yes, here we are. We need to create new. Click create new. Yes, and this is the remember I said the width. Let me open this back. Where are you? Yeah, remember this that I showed you guys. Remember this. This is that means we are using a landscape since it's dated in 1920 by 1080. 1920 by 1080. That's a landscape, the full HD. So that means the width. This is the this is the width. This is the height. The height is 1080. 1920 is the width. 1080 is the height. So back here, so we have for the width we have 1920, we have 1080 for the height because we are is on the screen, not so much the primary place is living is not on Instagram or it's not on Instagram. So as such, we have this. So and make sure this artboard is clicked. Then click create. Then it brings this. You know, what, let me bring back my workspace to. Let me bring back my work. Let me reset my workspace to the essential, to the default mode. Yes, so here we are. So we can start, if we like any particular, if we see any particular. Now I'm holding Alt and with my mouse scroll in and out to zoom in on or out. Or I press Control plus, Control minus to zoom in and out. Now the good thing about, enabling that artboard is that we can bring in some random things that we use as reference, right, and drop it and dump it on the into our project what we're working on now. So yes, I like this. Yeah, so we can have the image that speaks about the concept, the idea. For instance, we're talking about social media, right? We can have something like this. Then is not blurred out, but is grayed out. But that may not be the actual. But to a large extent, is not so much competing with the text that the text can actually sit on top of it. So looking at this, and that's one idea that just came to me. So I can bring this. Well, this also came to me too. So I can bring this in. Where is it? Yeah, this is another play of that particular style. Okay, here it is. This is something similar to that. We have the so for the image now, right? We have two dominant image, two main image. There's one at the background, the image used as the background element. We now have another image here, but this image here is not competing. The image on the background is not distracting. It's not shouting. It's not too loud because it has been. There's an apt word for this, but it has been made not to disturb. Yes, it's used as an overlay. Yes, it has been used as an overlay. So there's like an overlay effect happening on it so that it doesn't become too shout and too loud that is distracting. So I like, so I'm thinking of something like this, something that I might, incorporate into the design. So this is another one, right? The image itself, right, is cut or the one on the background. So you can possibly have two images. There are two images. There's one we use as background element as design as to a large extent like design element on the background that is also faded to the background. Then the major image itself, right? So this these are But mind you, remember you said this is this is in the portrait format, right? But in our design, it has to be landscape. So we need to be cognizant of that too as well as as we're looking at the reference. So so I like this, I like this, I like this for now. So all I need to do is drag and drop them inside here. So I need to hit enter to allow each of them drop. So what this allows me now, because I enabled canvas, right? It allows me to just have them by the side like this. So there was another one that caught my attention. Is this one very minimal? Very minimal. So we have, yeah, like a background, just minimal background. Um, yes, like something like a rectangle. Yes, that acts as a background where this image sits. I will now have just minimal text. So this also catches my attention. So I think for now, then you can go on and on, but you can go on and on with the research. But I think this is good for now. Yeah. So back to our script. Yeah, back to our script. So you know what? For now, I will skip this, which is meant to even this too, because yes, to a large extent, the design we are doing now will make it available for the motion graphics person. So it's a two-way thing. It will be displayed directly. It can be used, will be used and be displayed directly. To also be used as an asset for the motion graphics artist to work off from. So, which all of this is another dissemination. But right now, we just focus on this particular numbering, the numbering here, providing the assets, the design, designing it for this. So we have the social media department. So so that means we need something to. The key concept here is the social media department, right? So we need we need an image, right, to really capture that. So now back to how I've documented this process. So we have research. After this research, or while in this research, there are other things like, okay, like I said, make use of help tools. There are some help tools like stock sites for images. For instance, we have pixels as I think that should be it here. Then Pixabay on Splash, Canvas, right? And oh, I forgot to put FreePic. So FreePic 2, I use FreePic 2 for for both images and templates. For both images and templates. Yes, while talking of templates, now you can see this is my process of just looking at the finished work and just extracting ideas from it to design is because oftentimes, right, I've come to learn the process, I've gone through this process, I've really learned the fundamentals, I've practiced it over and over time, so it's easy for me to like draw reference from all of those and quickly go. However, that may not be the case once you guys are starting out. You may need some help with that. As such, it becomes necessary for you to also seek for templates. So how do I do that? How do we do that? For it, okay, we need to go to FreePic. Okay, here is FreePic, freepic.com. So to search for template, you can just search for usually one word. You can search for flyer design. But many times this is not the okay. I think so. You can see some references here. You can see some references here. You can see one here. So we have one here. I think what I will do is that okay, there will be I will just create another video that there will be another video where I like it will be centered more on taking in this okay there will be another my approach now is that I won't use templates rather I will just draw from reference and build from that. That's then later the next one will be about downloading because I like this now downloading the reference. So I just click on it. I double clicked on it right to bring out this. So it's just a matter of so once you click on something, once you go on that also it gives you some similar templates just like it. So you can see this one. I really like this one. I really like this one. So you can see some templates. So I can now click on download to download. Oh, okay. I need to sign in. So hopefully that works. But once I click on the download, um, so to download things on so yeah to download on Freepik, all you need to do is click on the like I'm liking this. I just click on it, then click download, then you go to free download. Yes, then it downloads. Then later I will like walk us through the process of formatting it into like how that process comes, right? But right now, I will just this process now will just be more of looking at reference and building up from there. Yes, one other thing I failed to make mention of is the fact that while you're designing, right? When I think that should come in between here. The follow-up questions, in between here, the follow-up questions, like, okay, you ask them about the brand identity, color, and assets. So, for instance, we have just primarily the other things like they are meant to follow. For instance, uh, this is a brand sample. This is a brand guide sample. This is a brand guide sample. You should be able to. Normally, you're meant to like have something like this where this thing is stated, the major font, the major typeface that the company uses, the major typeface that the company uses are stated, right? So you have popping, we have right. These are alternative, right? Then we have Latu for the body or this one. So then the brown color, right? The brown color and all of that. So normally these are meant to, but many times that barely happen. But rather you are now left to extracting the logo will be provided, right? You are now left to like now this is the logo for TCM Maryland, right? You are now left to extracting the brand color from the logo itself and now work off from that, right? So yes, so that's one other question you need to ask, and also hopefully those are provided. If not, you just need to either go to their website and see the colors that have been used or their social media handle and see the colors that have been used. So, but for now, we just work off with this. We'll work with this color and this logo. So yes, so that becomes essential to bring to be like the first thing, one of the first things to bring in to our once we have our once you have our references gathered.